This is Public Access Lost Transmissions Part 2. We don't have Natasha today, but we shall proceed ahead regardless. Let's do a bit of recapping. So if you want to follow along on the Mysteries tab of the Character Keeper, you have one active mystery. It is the house on Escondido Street. So we met our Latchkeys last time, and they've been in Deep Lake for a little while, for a week or two, but they have not had much luck with TV Odyssey, but suddenly, all in one day, they found Odyssey tapes, or Odyssey tapes found them, and they had another mystery in town drop in their laps, the house in Escondido Street. You're trying to figure out what happened to this family that used to live there 10 years ago that just randomly disappeared. A friend of the family's little boy, Elliot, the friend Casey, now an adult, came to you and brought this mystery to you. 18 Escondido Street is evil. There's something going on there. There's some kind of entity or some kind of phenomenon happening on Escondido Street. You've experienced a little bit of its weirdness, but you have not really explored the house too much yet. You do have one question here, which is what happened to the Rappaports? It's a complexity 6, and once you've answered it correctly, you can resolve the mystery by revealing the truth to Casey Wilcox. If you wish, at that point, you can do something about the house as well. You only have 2 clues currently, though with one slight caveat, which is that someone has been leaving Ash clues as well, and per Ash's move, which is the truth is out there. And I have another one to give you today, Ash. But those clues can be for this mystery, or they might be for another mystery that might show up later. But that's where that stands. NPCs or side characters you've met are Casey, of course, Patience Head, the busybody and head of the HOA. Claire is apparently knows about this. This is Zachary's girlfriend. She's acting very strangely. And though you haven't met her yet, Debbie Rappaport is in town, and she's apparently in charge of the property until her brother Hugh and his family return, or maybe they're never going to return, but at least she's in charge of the house regardless. So that's the story with the house in Escondido Street. You have found 2 Odyssey tapes and watched one of them. And taking a look at our latchkeys, everybody has at least one condition right now. So not anything too pressing. That might become worse later. But in any case, just something to be mindful of. Because as we move into session 2, now is the natural time to do the move that allows you to clear conditions if you wish. And so at the start of the session, at the start of a brand new day phase, are there any questions? Okay, then we'll begin with a couple of things. 1, Ash, you wake up at Rodenbecker Street in your room, and on your nightstand, there is a paper fortune teller. You know those things, right? You do the
No, no, I do. What's really fucking weird is that because if you didn't have one, I was going to say paper fortune teller.
Oh, it is the signal. We are receiving the signal.
We're
It
in
is
the
it is
signals, yeah.
beaming directly to our brains. That's your clue, though. Now, what it says, that you can use that to inform your future answer questions, but for now, just know that's what it is. Who left it there? Maybe one of your fellow latchkeys, maybe some weird person helping you behind the scenes. Who knows? As well, you are going to learn about a brand new mystery, because the mysteries just keep coming in public access. And so you have a brand new mystery in addition to the house in Escondido Street. You can follow along with me there. It is the Deep Lake Lurker. I'll read the presentation now. For the working families of Deep Lake, summer means tourist money and sending kids to Pine Rock Ridge, a sleepaway camp on the other side of the lake. Generations of children gossiped in its wooden cabins and roasted s'mores over campfires, the 3 of you included. In 1993, however, 12-year-old Jessica Stosky disappeared while out swimming on the lake. She was the fourth camper who had gone missing in as many years, the others being Johnny Green Jr., Carlos Sanchez, and Elizabeth Lizzie Lewis. 1 year per kid. Like them, her body was never found. Pine Rock Ridge was forced to shut down soon after the incident, sued into financial oblivion by Jessica's father, Harvey Stosky. The cold case of the Pine Rock Ridge campers is now more myth than tragedy, especially among elementary school students. Every year, children pass down the tale of Jessica Stosky, drowned by the Deep Lake lurker. Some claim the lurker is Deep Lake's own Loch Ness monster. Others say the lurker is the previous victim, bound to the lake until they pull another victim to the bottom. The children's tale gained traction in conspiracy theory circles when Pine Rock Ridge recently opened back up under new management, and it gained the attention of the Latchkeys when camp counselor Emily Beaumont stopped by the house on Rodenbecker Street, asking you all to look into the disappearance of her former best friend. I'm going to pose this question to Ash. You know the lurker is real because you were almost drowned by it, though you didn't get a good look. Why are you still alive?
I think that Ash is still alive because thankfully back then there was a lifeguard on duty, and this lifeguard did end up saving him from what the lifeguard assumed was just sort of a regular drowning. Except when Ash emerged from the lake, there were large gashes in his calf.
Very interesting. So something grabbed you, left marks, and you were rescued. You have one question to start. Is the Deep Lake Lurker a horrid beast or a transformed Jessica Stosky? It's a complexity 4. Once you answer it, you unlock the next question. And so Emily Beaumont has brought this to you. She says, come by the camp whenever you want. She's there. The camp is newly opened. There's a bunch of, there's kids and stuff, so she'll have to kind of help out with that. But she'll do her best, since you're here looking for mysteries or trying to, figure out mysteries of the town, she brought this one to you. And so at this point, we'll do our day phase. As usual, I'm going to follow your lead on the day phase. I will. That's not the question in the chat. Yes, she was Jessica's friend. Yeah, back when they were kids. Now is probably a good time to talk about the nostalgic move, which is a move that we haven't done yet. When you have an intimate moment with another latchkey while one of you is waxing nostalgic about something that takes you back, or maybe we did do this, I don't remember, you may each clear an appropriate condition. If you're not the latchkey waxing nostalgic, you also stumble on a clue relevant to an active mystery. Tell the keeper what it is. The clue cannot conclusively solve the mystery by itself. So essentially, this is an opportunity to clear conditions. You have to just have an intimate moment with another character while one of you is talking about the thing that takes you back. But right now, you're all kind of okay on conditions, so I'll leave that up to you whether you want to do it or not. In any case, let's go around the table and see what everyone's interested in, because you have 2 active mysteries now, and the house in Escondido Street, you've barely done anything on. So let's check in first with Zachary.
Well, I don't feel like I want to clear that condition. I have straight away my pantry girlfriend. That's too interesting but if anyone wants me to assist them clear a condition, I'm happy to. Other than that, I think I want to carry on poking at the house on Escondido Street. I'm just trying to think what the best approach would be. I think, does Deep Lake have like a local newspaper of any kind?
La Fresca does. There is not a paper. I don't think there's a paper in Deep Lake. Maybe there is. I can never keep track of that.
Well, in any case, I think it may be a trip over to La Fresca to look in the archives of that.
Wait, I want to say, Ash, didn't you do like archival research last time?
Oh,
I tried.
Yeah, she went to the library. Yeah,
I tried.
Yeah. That is an option. I mean, there is a library with an archive. You don't have to go all the way to La Fresca for that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Then again, Ash did that last time. Come back to me. I'm thinking about what to do today.
All right. Well, Ember, what do you want to do?
So I definitely want to keep my condition as well. The dinner party.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking about checking out the camp. Just
Very
going
good.
there, talking to counselors.
Sounds good. And Ash?
I think he's gonna go to the camp. He's gonna go have a little moment, see what's going on over there, reconnect.
So Ash and Amber are headed to Pine Rock Ridge. Zachary?
Yeah, I think I want to go back to the house, and I want to see if I can find anything, because it seems like they left a lot of things behind. So I want to see if I can find like paperwork or anything like that, because there's this, we know that they supposedly owed money to somebody sketchy.
That is one of your clues. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of want to look for paperwork, photographs, that kind of thing.
I want to talk about Claire, because Claire, now normally, like the day phase doesn't mean it always is the next day, but in this case, it is the next day. And Claire is in town, did not come with you to Rodenbecker Street. The last you saw of her, she was hanging out in the pantry of Escondido Street. Like, what are you thinking right now? Are you trying to I'm curious just what's going on in your head with this Claire situation.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking that it's not much as I would like to avoid her. That's it. I can't. Right. This has got to be this crazy situation that she's followed me here and is now living in the pantry of.
Well, we don't. Well, that's just. I mean, who knows?
House.
That's just.
Well, I think that's certainly.
I mean, she was kind of playing I mean, I'd interpret it as like she was just kind of making a joke. I don't think she's actually living in the pantry. Yeah, but she's presumably still in town though. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, that's more reasonable then. I think that she found him once there. She's maybe going to find him again, but there's no reason to suspect she will. But I think he doesn't want to appear that he's avoiding her or hiding from her, much as he doesn't particularly want to actually face up to her.
So you're headed to the house then?
Yes.
Going to go into the back again?
Yeah, I think so. Let myself in the back gate. Make sure Patient's head is not around.
I'm sure she is, but you don't have to worry about it for now. Very interesting. We've talked about how it seems like they left a lot behind, like they left very suddenly, right? And I think before you get even to the back of the house, I want to talk a little bit about the exterior of the house. In the sort of like towards the side of the house as you come around, there's a stand of trees there, a copse of tall ponderosa pines, yellowing grass, sticky pine needles get all over your shoes. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Something about the trees makes you think the evil in this place is in the land. What is it?
I think it's the texture of the bark of the trees, because it's rather fleshy and almost moist in some areas.
And I think a lot of the trees seem to have been dug under by gophers or ground squirrels or something, and the way they've kind of dug around the roots and then even gnawed into some of the base of the tree, that the trees have this kind of creepy posture where they kind of look like, the root of them kind of looks like these hands clawing into the ground or something. They just have an unsettling silhouette.
Interesting. I think you can hear a trio of girls doing double Dutch, jump rope on the sidewalk. And that's the only thing you can hear as you head around to the back. It's actually a really, really quiet day. And as the sound of the girls doing jump rope gets quieter and quieter as you go around to the back, it's almost like you're stepping into another world, or that the house is somehow set apart from the rest of Escondido Street. The back area, the back entrance, leads into what is a kitchen and dining room. There's a small kitchen with a bar window that looks directly into the dining room. A Wedgwood blue trestle table is still set for dinner. Oak cabinets and speckled Formica countertops are the order of the day. Give Jack a second to warm up here. Let's paint the scene. Based on what was left out, name one thing that was on the dinner menu on the day the Rappaports disappeared.
I think there was an all-American microwaved meatloaf. So there's like the kind of black plastic container with the remnants of the foil on top, and maybe some of the meatloaf left in there.
There is a big old bowl of what was once egg salad, but given the years, it has sort of become this almost like freeze-dried husk of what it used to be.
Has been sitting out for 10 years, apparently.
I think for dessert they were supposed to have Twinkies, and they're still wrapped up, and they look
and they're perfectly fine.
Yeah. You could still eat them.
Grab one and eat it. Yeah. I love it. Zachary, what do you do?
I want to look through the house, looking for an office or kind of like maybe a bedroom closet with, like a shoebox full of paperwork or photographs or that kind of thing. I'm looking for that type of evidence specifically. Anything on paper, an office drawer, filing cabinet.
I don't think that there's an office, but maybe you could start. I'll just tell you the different rooms and you can choose.
Mm-hmm.
There is the kitchen and dining room area. There is the backyard area, which we haven't really looked at too closely yet. There's the TV room, which you had a chance to glimpse briefly. There's the master bedroom, Elliot's room, Abigail's room, and the basement.
It's got to be start in the master bedroom and then go to the basement if there's nothing there.
The master bedroom features teal and mauve decor with seaside motifs, very early 90s. There's a queen-size bed with a brass frame, and the faint smell of Estee Lauder perfume still lingers 10 years later. Everyone, what here makes you think that Hugh and Sherry, mom and dad, were focused more on their children than themselves?
There aren't any like wedding photos on display or any pictures of the two of them as a happy couple. It's all just pictures of the kids.
I think on what would maybe normally be like the dressing table, the vanity unit, there's a bunch of kind of paperwork relating to the kids' schools there, report cards and exercise books and those kind of things.
I think there's a calendar on the wall, and you can see all the different dates and appointments for the children, like pick them up after school for sports events or whatever, but you don't see any appointments for the parents, like having some time on their own.
So Zachary, it sounds like you're just going to like go through drawers and stuff and see what you can find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look in the bottom of closets, that kind of thing.
Yeah, make the meddling move with, I would say reason makes sense.
Let's see if I have any. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, that's a 13.
Oh, very interesting indeed. We'll come back to this. Pine Rock Ridge. I assume you two go together.
Yeah.
Who's driving?
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
think.
driving.
Oh, perfect. Because I think Amber has an old hearse.
That
Which she
sticks
got
out.
yeah, was rather cheap and it's not in best shape, but it's the vibe.
I love it.
That counts.
I love it.
And we're driving together.
Mm-hmm. Let's just have the scene briefly in the hearse. I think that would be fun.
So, how did you afford this? And Ash is just sort of looking back to the like empty, I don't know what it would be called.
There's like the rails though, where the coffin gets slid on and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say? And then she was just switching around radio stations to see if there's anything good on.
No, this is not subtle at all. Did you buy this? Did you inherit it? Did you kill someone for it?
Maybe I did. No, actually, I bought it at an auction. It was pretty cheap because for some reason people weren't really interested in this little baby.
I don't know. I'd call it little. It's giant back there.
I mean, it comes in handy for moving. And then she looks at you, buddies.
At least two, from what I can tell. Uh, did you ever go to Pine Rock as a kid? I feel like you're not super big into sun and fun.
Well, I did actually go there. I remember spending more than one summer there. What about you?
Yeah, I've been there. I actually used to spend all my summers at camp there. Yeah, it kind of ended though. Got I got injured,
Yeah, what happened?
and I think because he's wearing just sort of like cargo shorts, he just sort of like looks down and like unconsciously sort of twitches his calf muscles, so you can sort of see the three lines, the three scars that go through it, and then he kind of like tucks his leg back. I don't know. I think I got in trouble in the lake, and my 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 parents thought it would be best if I just stayed home.
Well, now you can make up for it and go for a swim or whatever you're interested in.
I don't think I'll be going for any swims.
You pull up into the parking lot, which is like a sort of gravel parking lot that has a little trail that goes to the actual camp proper. This parking lot features a large wooden sign that's a sort of carved map of the camp. So at a glance or just a quick survey, you can see all the different parts of the camp. There are the cabins where the kids and the camp counselors stay. There's Pinecone Hall, which is the dining hall. There's the boathouse. There is Black Rock Beach, which is a little. The camp has an imported white sand beach on the lake. There is the lake itself. There's a walking trail called Blue Marsh Loop. Yeah, so it's all the sorts of things you might expect to find at a kid's summer camp, at a sleepaway camp. What's your first move as you pull the hearse up?
I think Ash wants to go find Emily. Actually, no. I think he's gonna have a bit more of a private moment. He's just gonna sort of go wander towards the beach and just sort of take in the lake.
Interesting. Amber?
I think I'll seek out Emily then.
As you are getting out of the hearse, a car pulls up, a sort of beat up Honda Civic. There's a man driving. You don't recognize him. He's got a very heavy 5 o'clock shadow, and as he gets out, you can see that he looks like he's gone gray a little early, and he's wearing a worn green and brown baseball cap with a sturgeon embroidered on it. And he kind of gets out in a huff, and he sees the hearse, and he's like, oh, that's just great. That's just great. Real nice thing to do at a place where kids have gone missing and died.
Ash just sort of shrinks back a bit and says, come on, Amber, we should probably get going.
This is all just one big joke, huh? Just one big joke. Just
hey,
Billy James's great big joke. Are the two of you camp counselors here to rub it in?
No.
And he says, what are you doing here then?
I think that's any of your business, sir.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But maybe it is. Maybe Pine Rock Ridge is everyone's business. Maybe this place should never have reopened after everything that happened. And maybe someone needs to do something about it.
Okay. I'm sorry. Maybe we did get off on the wrong foot here. This car. Well, I'm sorry if you're offended by it. Don't think about it too much though. Why are you so concerned about this camp?
Make the meddling move with. I'm gonna say composure, actually.
Okay. Let's see. I've got a 7.
He says, well, Wednesday Addams, the reason why this camp is so important to me is because my daughter went missing from here 11 years ago. Maybe you've heard of her, Jessica Stosky. Her name's all over the internet. For people who are into weird stuff. I'm putting 2 and 2 together here. Goth chick, hearse, young people, the internet, missing kids. Are you like here doing some kind of like internet blog thing about the missing kids of Pine Rock Ridge? Is that what this is? This is some ghoulish thing?
No, we're just visiting a friend.
Yeah, well, okay, whatever you're here doing, maybe you can figure out why certain things were left unexamined and unexplored when it came to my little girl's disappearance. And he kind of he gets a little closer to you all. And he says things like this. And he pulls out of his pocket what appears to be a skeletal finger. The bones have been clearly glued together. He's like, this was found. Well, it was in pieces at the time, but this was found around the time of my little girl's disappearance, or shortly thereafter. And no one would look into it. No one cared. And he puts it back in his pocket. That's your clue. And says to you, Amber. He says, I don't know what game you and your friend are playing here, but do not disrespect my daughter's memory. I've got my eye on you. And then he stomps off down the trail. I'm going to give you a clue or a condition. I've got my eye on you.
Mm.
Let's pick up with Zachary. I owe you a clue and maybe something else. Let's read the move on the 12 plus. What happens? On a 12 plus, you also find an Odyssey tape or you learn some unusual history about Degoya County, my choice. Here's your clue. As you're looking around the room, the master bedroom, you find something unusual under the bed. Wrapped in a cloth, long. And when you pull it out and undo it, you can see that it's a floor-length mirror. But the mirror has a spiral-shaped crack in the glass. Jagged, but a clear spiral. That's your clue. As you continue tossing the room, you go into Dad's underwear drawer, and underneath a pile of his jockey shorts, you find porn tapes, College Girls Gone Wild, one called Loose Lips Sink Ships, I don't know, some kind of nautical thing, other things, but also the distinctive purple clamshell of an Odyssey tape just waiting on you, waiting to be found by you, Zachary. I'll give you the title in a bit because I'm going to pull it off from one of the brand new Odyssey tapes that we've made in the game. But for now, you have that. What do you do?
I think Zachary spends a moment flipping through these various videos and chuckling. But then, turning back to this mirror, I think I want to try and stand it up against a wall and see like whether it, not that I believe there's anything supernatural going on here, but like what do I see when I look into it?
When you push up the mirror and set it against the wall, you can see, well, make the information move with sensitivity.
Well, this is going to go horribly wrong. No, it's not. That's a 7. An 8.
8. When you look in the mirror, the room is different. Something is off about the room. It's little things. It's like a Where's Waldo. You can kind of pick out small little details. Jewelry box, open in the real world, closed in the mirror. The drawer you just opened up, closed in the mirror, that kind of thing. The carpet even seems to be a slightly different color. The light's not great in here, but you can make out that it's clearly mauve in your reality, but in the mirror, it's more of a sandy beige. Also, the mirror, you can see out into the hallway from the mirror, and Claire is standing there looking into the room. Here, I'm allowed to invoke a special rule. You take a condition called haunted. And
right.
You get to make the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail to keep your nerve right now?
I think spinning around to see, after seeing Claire in the mirror, I'm going to spin around to see, is she really standing there? And my fear is that something actually happened to her and I'm being haunted by her. And it's not that she's physically here present in Devoy County, but it's something far weirder.
You have to make the roll at disadvantage. It's going to be with composure.
That's going to be a 6.
A 6.
Yes, a 6.
That is not good. We'll come back to this in a moment. Your clue, though, is the fact that the room looks slightly different in that mirror. So, well, Amber and Ashley, you've just had this like rather obnoxious encounter with Harvey Stosky. What are the two of you doing now? You're going to continue with your original plan?
I think that Ash would actually probably want to stick with Amber because he's scared that something might happen if, she's alone and this weird old man is going to try and hurt her.
Be a hero.
So, yeah. Well, try to.
Very good. So, Amber, it sounds like you're going to go try to find Emily.
Yeah.
You'll see Emily. You'll find Emily and a couple of other camp counselors getting ready to take the kids out to hike on Blue Marsh Loop. Emily Beaumont, you just saw her earlier this morning. She, apart from the fact that she's now wearing her Pine Rock Ridge, her little Pine Rock Ridge, camp counselor vest. She looks just as she did before, blue and purple dyed hair, tied up in a ponytail. She sees you and she waves. She's like, "Oh, hey. And she kind of comes up to you as you're approaching. Thanks for coming down here. I know it's like really weird for someone just to like show up at your house and ask you to come investigate the disappearance of their friend, their best friend 10 years ago. But I don't know. I just thought, well, I couldn't help but notice the vehicle you pulled up in, and so I think my suspicions that you're really into dark and mysterious things have been confirmed."
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, people react really strongly to this car, it seems, but I mean, you're not wrong.
It's a conversation starter, right?
It is. So, is there anything weird going on here? Anything you notice?
I'm sorry, could you hold on? Hey, kids, now remember, hey, pack extra snacks and water while you're on the trail and always keep next to your buddy. That's what Piney Pinecone says. 2 and 2 stick together like glue. Sorry. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
You still have that Pinecone mascot?
Oh yeah, Piney Pinecone. Yeah, Mr. James is really obsessed with Piney Pinecone. Actually, I think there's some kind of, I don't know. There's something going on there. That's Billy James. He's the new owner of the camp, the one who reopened it. Bit of a controversial figure here in Deep Lake. A lot of people did not want this place to open back up, but
yeah. Why did he ever say why he wanted to reopen it?
Mr. James is a very interesting character. He frequently contradicts himself, and I don't think he has much of a sense for business, if I'm being perfectly honest. He's a rich trust fund kid, everybody knows that. And I think he just is a profligate spender, and I think he just wanted to piss off what he calls the old guard of Deep Lake. So I don't know, but I'm happy to have the job.
Have you seen anything since it's been open? Like anything weird?
Just all the normal sorts of stuff. Hey, you want to do you want to both come with me on the trail with the kids and we can talk about it more then?
Yeah.
Sure.
You get out on the trail and it's a well-worn footpath with wooden markers, names and lovesick woes intermittently carved into trees. And there's water licking at eroded rock and soil. The lake is always on your right-hand side as you take the trail. Let's paint the scene. Children and young teens come out here to escape the less than watchful eyes of the camp counselors. What have they been trying to hide?
Pretty simple one, I guess. There's just a handful of cigarette butts and, you know, crumpled cigarette packets and discarded matches.
It's strange because it's maybe not something you would want to hide unless there's something that should be hidden about it. But along the trail, there are hanging from branches these strange little figurines made up of like wrapped up twigs and like seagrass or lake grass, I guess in this case.
I think there's like a you could interpret it as a shrine almost to the Deep Lake Lurker. Like children apparently have made offerings, so they get spared. But they try to keep it hidden so the adults don't see.
Very interesting. As you're walking the trail, I don't think Emily really knows anything more than what she's already told you about Jessica and, some of the, everybody has a theory, right? Which has led you to consider whether there's actually a monster or if there's some situation with the previous victim trying to draw in a new victim or whatever. Nevertheless, as you've all noted, there is some stuff going on out here on the trail. Ash, what do you do while you're walking the trail?
I think he's looking up these figurines that are in the trees, and he, while looking at them, not really paying attention to where he's looking in front of him, he'll just sort of openly ask towards both Emily and the kids who are on the trail. So you've never seen anything in the lake when you've been swimming in there, like nothing out of the ordinary.
Emily says, "Are you asking if I've seen the Deep Lake Lurker?"
I mean, it's not technically, no.
Listen, I don't really think there's a monster out here. I think something happened to those kids. Something happened to Jessica and to the others. Maybe maybe there's like a natural hazard that's a danger. Maybe there's a serial killer. I don't know. But I think that the explanation is something probably more mundane than what the internet rumor mongering and myth making would have you believe. Regardless, it's, I mean, I get it. It's fun to think about supernatural explanations for things, but it just doesn't really, it defies all logic. It doesn't make any sense, right?
I don't know if I'd use the word fun. And I think when he says that, he's sort of instinctively, his calf muscle just flexes and the scar sort of twitches on his leg.
Interesting. What are you doing, Amber?
So I brought some cupcakes. I'm trying to bribe the kids to tell me more.
Oh, that's pretty good. Make the meddling move with presents.
And I think I'll use an item since I want a good result. I'm using the cooking decorations, and I picture like
they're very cute cupcakes.
Yeah, like you can see like something similar to the Loch Ness monster on it.
Nice, good.
Okay, so that's an 11.
Oh, very good. I think the kids are like eating the cupcakes. And do you just like straight up ask like some of the kids, like, what do you know about the Deep Lake Lurker, or what have you seen, or what?
Yeah, it's like maybe they're hesitant at the beginning because I can be a bit intimidating, but then I say, don't worry. I mean, you can always talk to strangers if they've got candy or baked goods,
There's one little boy who looks really young compared to all the rest. He's probably like 8 years old, and all the rest are like between 10 and 13. And he says, "Do these cupcakes have butter in them?"
I do have some without. I'm always prepared.
What about flour?
Yeah, you need flour.
Oh, I can't eat flour. I can't have gluten or butter or sugar or eggs. I'm actually really not well suited for cupcakes, as it turns out.
Why?
I could die.
Are you allergic to fun?
And he's sort of like takes a deep breath. Excuse me. I was just letting the flare-up of emotion from your unfair jibe pass through me. I believe that one should practice active control of one's emotions. Healthy processing of one's emotions is the best way to get through life. That's what my parents say. And so I will respond by saying, no, I am not allergic to fun. I think lots of things are fun. Math, very fun. Photography, fun. He begins listing off all sorts of things he finds to be enjoyable. I can't help that I was born with so many food allergies. I can't help that the very whiff of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich will send me into anaphylactic shock.
I think that's true.
You're both very fair-skinned. You should be careful walking around outside like this. I hope you're both wearing a sufficiently high SPF sunscreen to avoid skin cancer.
Ash just sort of like starts to look at his arms and realizes that he hasn't actually, in fact, put on any sunscreen.
Oh yeah, Amber has.
I'm actually gonna just run back to the car, and he sort of just turns around and starts to head down the other end of the path.
A little girl walks up to you, Amber. She has braids tied off with butterfly clips, a striped shirt, and a bright pink skirt. Little kid-sized hiking boots. She looks like she's about 10. She says, I've seen it. The lurker.
Oh.
Yeah. There's a light on the docks. Last night, it was flickering. And I went over there to the flickering light, and there was a fish head sticking out of the water. I think the lurker is a fish. Just a really big fish.
And what were you doing out there at night?
The little boy, he says, you didn't see the lurker. That's absurd. I'm going to be the one to find the lurker. And he has like a camera hanging around his neck on a lanyard, a little disposable camera. He says, I've been saving the film for this very thing. I'm going to sneak out after dark and snap a quick picture. I know where to find it. Just like that. I will be the first person to have photographic evidence of the Deep Lake lurker. And I'm sure the National Enquirer will pay me $1 million. I just have to make sure I don't fall asleep before everyone else again. They go on like this for some time.
Yeah. Maybe at some point I ask his name because I like him.
His name is Daniel Kwan. Her name is Josephine Gonzalez. And at a certain point, Daniel like tugs on your shirt to get your attention, Amber, as you're walking the trail. He wants to whisper something in your ear.
So I bent down.
He's looking at Josephine. He says, I'm very much in love with her. Can you teach me how to woo women?
I could give it a try. I mean...
You can be my Cyrano de Bergerac.
We could give it a try, but how do you think? Is there like any situation where I could hide behind a bush and whisper things for you to say into your ear?
He says, well, I suppose that would be pretty suspicious if you, a grown adult who is not an employee of Pine Rock Ridge, was hiding in the bushes. I wouldn't want to put you in that kind of situation. We'll come up with a plan. I will win the heart of my lady love. Some way or somehow.
Daniel, I think you're amazing, and I will definitely help you.
You know, Josephine was right about the lights, though. There is a light. Not the lights by the docks. There's a light in the water. Deep in the water. You can see it. At night. At certain times. That's your clue. What are you doing right now, Ash, since you gave up on the Plucky Youth Patrol?
Yeah, I think he was intending to head back towards the hearse to go get some of Amber's SPF 1000 sunscreen. But
Indeed, yeah.
I think that along the way he can see the docks and he can see the beach, and I think it's sort of this sort of like siren call sort of situation where he's just sort of lured off of the trail closer towards the lake itself.
You can hear someone blasting Paradise City by Guns N' Roses.
A real siren song, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think that, instead of like a siren song, actual siren song, I think it's just sort of like following the noise. Then when he gets close enough, he realizes that it's Axl Rose, and then he'll start to make his way closer towards that sound.
There's an orange Camaro parked by what appears to be the admin offices of Pine Rock Ridge. And there's a man standing on the hood of said Camaro while Guns N' Roses blasts out of it, very loud. He has no shirt on, jean shorts, party mullet, and he's doing nunchucks. He's practicing nunchucks. What do you do?
Stare in disbelief for a few minutes.
Whole minutes.
Until
oh, you'll get the
maybe
whole,
not minutes, but
at
least until the
whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, until at least like the breakdown at the end of the song.
Oh yeah.
But
the really loud, fast part.
Yeah. But then I think he'll start to kind of get closer to the Camaro and say, nice day for it.
He turns to face you. Oh, yeah? He hops down. The next song is starting. He turns it down. Are you also an admirer of karate?
Yeah, I guess. It's cool what you're doing.
I believe that you can never be too prepared. There's danger around every corner. And the best defense is self-defense.
Yeah, really, really good advice.
There's also a whole mind-body spirit connection as well with karate. The mind connects to the body, connects to the spirit.
It's a very sweaty body.
Yeah. He flexes. Been working hard this afternoon. What can I say?
Ash get a little red in the cheeks.
So, are you one of my camp counselors, or are you here to get your paycheck, or what?
No. You work here?
I am the proprietor of Pine Rock Ridge.
Oh, you're Billy.
Billy James, aka the Eagle.
Oh, okay. I'm really curious as to how you got that nickname, but maybe for another time. I was actually just trying to get back to the parking lot.
The vests are in the office. There's a little drawer, top drawer. I'm sure you can find one that'll fit you.
Vest?
Your Pine Rock Ridge Camp Counselor vest.
No. I don't work here at all. I'm just visiting a friend.
Oh, that's cool. Technically, you're trespassing on private property, but that's cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll get out of here.
Forget that shit, man. You can't trespass on nature. Nature's for everyone.
Yeah, that rock and roll. You haven't. I mean, you haven't happened to see anything going on in the lake, have you? It's just been some weird stuff happening recently. I'm just wondering, maybe you saw something. Or being all out here in the sun.
Do the meddling move with presence. I'm not sure if your shaken would apply here or not.
I feel he's a little bit shaken, right?
Maybe, yeah, I think it might, yeah. Roll at disadvantage.
What that is a 5 plus a you said presence?
Yeah.
0. So that's a 5 total.
We'll leave this scene with a little trickle of water moving slightly uphill, crawling up his army boots, dribbling down into the boot. I'll come back to this in a moment. We're going to go on break in a moment, but Zachary, before we do, you're still looking in the mirror, and Claire is walking up behind you. She says, Zachary, We know why you really ran away. You know what really happened to me. The house can read your mind, but it can't predict the future. Nor can it see into the past. That means you must have come here already knowing I was dead. Let's take a 5-minute break. I'm going to retcon that last scene. Instead, Zachary, as you're looking in the mirror, you can see Claire standing in the hallway. But then the image gets blurred as blood begins seeping from the spiral crack. And I'm going to give you a condition called the bleeding spiral.
Since this was based on a dice roll, am I able to mark turn a key?
You can absolutely turn a key, and you would get a clue instead because you were doing the day move. You're doing the day move. I can give you a result that would be less. I have to tell you, basically on a 7 to 9, I would have to tell you how your move would leave you, or how your actions would leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to go through with it or back down.
I think I'll let it stand. Save the key for something else.
Take a condition. So what was the condition called? The bleeding spiral. Mm. But when you look again, there's no blood. There's no Claire. The mirror is not even showing a strange version of the room anymore. How are you feeling right now, though?
I think very shaken up. Did I even see Claire yesterday? Imagining things, or, well, I don't even want to admit the possibility that there might be something weird going on.
You presumably have her phone number, right?
I do. I'm hoping that if I ever called it, she'd still be back in New York. It's definitely in my little black book.
I mean, you probably have a cell phone with her number in it, right? It is still cell phone times, so.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I'll pull it out and look at it and flip through the contacts until I see her number. And my hand is kind of hovering over the little green key that would start the call. But it just stays hovering for a moment, and then he flips the phone closed.
Very good. So, Amber, you were chatting with the kids. You did get a clue out of it. Ash, I left you in a bit of a cliffhanger. I want to pick up with Amber, though. Amber, what do you do once you're done on the trail?
Maybe I try to have a look at the lake itself.
I think as you head over to the lake, you probably are not on the Black Rock Beach part. You're probably just on a regular part of the lake, just silty, muddy bank. You can see across the way some camp counselors laughing and chatting and talking, clearly not paying attention to the kids. You might even see your own reflection in the lake, distorted by ripples, even though there's not much of a wind, but the ripples make it seem like your face is sort of disappearing beneath the water. The dark waters, deep enough to not see the bottom. An otherwise calm and still surface. A stark absence of mosquitoes, dragonflies, and other bugs. What do you do?
So is there like a pier or something to get a bit closer? Or
There's a
docks?
swimming pier. There's a swimming pier that you can wade out to if you want to just get in the middle of the water, but you'd have to get in the water and swim over.
Yeah, she's not going to do that. Maybe I'll walk around on the beach and see if there's anything unusual I can detect.
Make a meddling move with just reason to see what you might notice.
Okay, gotta check what my modifier is.
I'm going to put you at disadvantage because as you're walking along the shore on the other side of the lake, you see Harvey Stosky just standing there, clearly watching you.
Okay, so that's a 6.
You come across some kids. Just one kid. Skipping stones across the water. Throwing the rock and plunk, plunk, plunk. They skip one stone and it doesn't go very far. It just plunks once and then goes down. And they throw the next one. And they get two skips out of that one. Dump, dump. And they skip the next stone. They get even further. Dump, dump, dump. They skip a fourth stone. Dump, dump, dump. And a hand comes out of the water and catches it. And then goes back down. Make the day move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
I think she's going to get really curious and wants to go there, check it out.
Make make the day move with composure. 2d6.
That's an 11.
You keep it together. What do you do? How are you feeling? Maybe it was just your imagination.
Yeah, I mean, I do take a double. There's double take on Amber's side, and then she looks whether the the kid actually reacts in any way.
No.
So she pretends she didn't see anything. Maybe she picks up a stone of her own and flips it over, but flicks it into the lake. But apart from that, she tries to keep her cool.
Ash, Billy's going on like he does. And at one point he stops. And belches water all over the ground. Oh, sorry about that. I don't. And more water splatters out all over the ground.
Are you okay?
He looks up at you, his eyes watery and red, his sunglasses askew on his nose. He says, and more water sprays out. Help me.
I'll go find someone. And completely unsure of what to do and not having a cell phone on him. I think he's just gonna run.
If you run, Billy James will drown.
Damn you. Yeah, I'm gonna let him drown.
You just hear him thrashing in the grass, gagging, thrashing.
I think as he turns to run, he sees him like fall off the Camaro, and he sort of like tries to sort of scoop him up and stabilize him, but the water just keeps bubbling out of his mouth, and I imagine some of it starts to get a little red as he keeps projecting it out of his mouth.
Does it spray on you?
Yes, absolutely.
You take a condition called the next victim. But you can run.
That's fair. Oh, I think he's like just sort of holding him and like calling out for help, like screaming it at the top of his lungs.
But the music is suddenly loud.
Exactly. He doesn't realize it. Yeah.
Yeah. You just hear Dr. Feelgood blasting. He's the one that makes you feel all right. Poor Billy James. Zachary, what do you do when you're done having your hallucination about Claire?
I need to get out of here. And I'm going to gather my stuff, take another look at that weird mirror where I left it propped against the wall, and head out.
I have to step away for just one moment. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
I didn't want to kill him. I didn't want to kill him.
Now I'll never get to meet him and refer to him as BJ.
I'm sorry. Listen. My heart is broken.
I mean, maybe he returns in some form.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah,
it is Deep Lake.
We know where Debbie is. We don't, do we? She's in town somewhere.
Hey, sorry about that.
No worries.
Sorry, Zachary. Say again. What do you do?
Getting the heck out of there. And we heard about Debbie Rappaport, who's supposedly in town. Do we know where she is or where she's staying?
It probably wouldn't be too difficult to figure out where she is, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know if Casey might know, or if...
Yeah, he might.
Hey, even Patience Head might know.
She almost certainly does. Yeah. As you're leaving the master bedroom, you hear something from the boys' room, from Elliot's room. The door is slightly ajar, so you can tell it's the boys' room based off the decorations. You definitely hear something like fall down in a closet. A thumping sound. What do you do?
Nope. Not today. I've had enough of this house. I'm out of there.
Very well. As you step out into the... Do you go out through the front or do you go back out the back?
I think I go out the front. I'm imagining the... Oh, it's a single-story house. But yeah,
it is.
I go out the front, yeah.
Fly, sorry.
Quickest way out.
As you step out into the yard, you see a big sheriff's department SUV pull up in front of the house and come to a stop. They roll down the passenger side window so they can call out to you. Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
are you in there doing something for Debbie?
Yeah, that's right.
Is she
tell you where she is? She tell you where she is this morning? I need to get in touch with her.
She's probably back at her house. Is she getting ready to finally sell this place?
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get some folks in to stage it. There's a heck of a mess in there.
Well, I didn't notice a car. Hop in. I'll take you over to her place.
I think he does a quick mental calculation. That's probably pretty obvious that there are wheels turning and he's deciding whether to accept that offer or not. But then, yeah, okay.
As you get in.
Front or back?
He's like, up here's fine. You only got to go to the back if you do something untoward.
And I think that one of the items in his personal quarters is feeling very heavy in his jacket pocket right now as he climbs into the shotgun seat.
Is it your Coke?
Yeah.
When you get inside, he reaches across to shake your hand. He's like, I'm Sheriff Hanscom.
Zachary Fontenot.
Zachary Fontenot. The sheriff he's a really good looking guy. Square jawed, handsome, just a little bit older than you. He smells really good, like Old Spice and Big Red gum. And he wears his khaki sheriff shirt in a strategically tight manner, strategically tight across the chest. And he kind of like flashes a megawatt smile at you and says, Fontenot, there's some Fontenots that used to live around here. Are you one of them? I mean, this would have been like 10, 15 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, I grew up around here.
Okay. So I guess you must be in real estate now or something. Are you helping out Debbie with Escondido Street? With 18 Street?
I'm thinking about moving back here. Thought I'd come check it out. Ran into Debbie.
Cool. You're definitely not one of those people who've been going around asking people about an old TV station, are you?
What TV station is that?
I don't know. I don't remember us ever having our own TV station out here in DeGoya County.
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
He pulls up to 26 Rodenbecker Street, the house you're staying at. And he says, well, here we are.
Okay. This is Debbie's place, huh?
He's like, oh no, sorry, I must be confused. And he keeps driving a little more.
Oh, that's okay.
He says, so what are you doing for Debbie?
Well, might be in the market for a little property myself, so she's helping me look for something.
Back to Deep Lake, huh?
It could be. I'm a writer, you see, and
you must write.
Sold my first.
You must write horror books, huh?
What makes you think that?
Why else would you be interested in staying at 18 Escondido?
Oh, yeah, I don't think that place really fits my needs. It's more room than I need, but I'm helping Debbie out in return for
her
helping me out. You know, quid pro quo.
He's on his little cell phone. He's like, hey, Debbie. Yeah, this is Sheriff Bill Hanscom. How's it going? That young man, the writer that you were helping out to find I'm pretty sure he said your name. You don't know any writer? Okay. I'm just sure there's some sort of natural confusion going on here, Debbie. You don't worry about it one bit. All right, you too. Bye-bye. And he hangs up and he says, okay. So why were you really at 18 Escondido Street?
Hey, maybe I didn't mention I was a writer to her because I don't know. I don't like talking about my work with
he stops the
outside
car
of the business.
He stops the car and says, look, man, I'm not trying to give you a hard time here. Your business is your own. I don't even really care that you were breaking and entering at 18 Escondido. Okay. Debbie doesn't care enough to keep an eye on that place. And so why should anybody else? And you don't look like, frankly, much of a danger to anyone. And so I'm sure it's all good. Just whatever you and your friends are doing here in town, just be careful, okay?
Okay, you got me.
Oh, do I got you?
Casey asked us to take a look.
Yeah, I figured as much. Okay. Well, just be careful. Be careful of Patient's head. She likes to make phone calls to the sheriff's department, and I have to respond to them.
Yeah. I think
he hands you his business card. He hands you his business card. If you get in any kind of trouble, just give me a call, okay?
What kind of trouble are you imagining we could get into in an empty house?
I don't know. It's my job to say such things to people. Cut me some slack.
Okay, man. I'm sorry.
Now, where do you want me to drop you off?
Well, it would be useful if I could talk to Debbie.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take you by there. And he continues on. This might be a good time to put Amber and Ash back together, I think. Both of you having experienced something somewhat strange and or traumatic. Ash is probably you both probably look a little stricken, but it's probably easier to tell on Ash's face.
Where do we meet? Just watching a man drown to death on dry land.
So just a clarification, a clarifying question. Did someone call an ambulance? Is the body
I don't think we
there?
know that yet. I don't even know that Ash knows that he's actually dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, I think right after.
I think if anything, then to sort of just get back to Amber, I think that after a few minutes of calling out for help, or at least waiting till Dr. Feelgood's finished, that Ash will sort of, he'll try to reassure the drowning Billy James, hey, I'm going to find someone, and then he'll rush off and go running down the path, screaming for Amber and Emily.
You'll find Amber.
Mm.
We gotta
hey,
call
what's
the
up?
cops. We have to call an ambulance. Something's happened. Do you have like a cell phone or something? One of those cellular phones?
I mean, that's
a
pretty...
mobile telephone.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I think she's got one, and she pulled it out. And so, who exactly should I call? The ambulance or police? That's quite different.
Ash just sort of takes the phone if it's okay.
Okay,
he just sort of snatches it, just sort of puts 911 in, and we gotta go find Emily. Come on. And he'll just be like on the phone trying to contact an ambulance.
I think this would be perfect time for Sheriff Bill to get a call sometime later, a little bit later. And he's like, at Pine Rock Ridge? Okay, all right. I'll be there in just 1 second. He's like, hey, I'm really sorry. I've either got to drop you off right here, or you got to come to Pine Rock Ridge with me. We're having some kind of situation down there. To Zachary. Zachary, can you hear us?
Sorry, I was sorry.
Sheriff Bill.
No, I was still didn't recognize my own character's name.
Sheriff Bill takes the emergency call while he's got you in the vehicle.
Sure, if you don't want me to ride along, I'll get out.
No, you can ride along. It's fine. Come on. And I'm not going to just drop you off in the middle of the road. And
let's go then.
And he's like, as he's like taking you there, he's like, the dispatch didn't recognize the person who called in the 911 call. As you might imagine, we're a pretty small community. We know everybody, and there's only a few people who are in town right now who who are not just typical summer people. I mean, who am I going to discover at the other end of that phone call when we get to the camp? It's not one of your friends, is it?
I don't know where they went today. It could be if it's a tall kind of goth-looking girl and this little kind of skinny kid in cargo shorts, then yeah, that's them. But I don't know.
Right. And he pulls up to the gravel parking lot, eventually. And there's a whole bunch of the camp is really there's a lot of chaos. The camp counselors are trying to get the kids just into their cabins so they don't really learn what's going on. And Sheriff Bill's the first person to respond, and he does a jog down the trail to get down to whatever's happening. He'll probably run into Amber and Ash because you're not dealing with kids. He'll say, "What's going on here? I heard somebody got hurt."
The owner, Billy James, he was back by the clearing, by the lake. He just started coughing up water.
He's like, all right, damn it,
choking on it.
I told him he shouldn't get involved with this place, and he kind of darts off. But Zachary, you can be there now with the others.
What the hell happened?
I was just talking to him, and all of a sudden, it was like he was drowning, but he was standing on top of his hood of his Camaro, and he just started choking up. And when he's starting to explain, he's sort of gesturing towards his shirt, which is now drenched in lake water. And I think that there's even maybe a little leech that he peels off of his shirt and squeezes it in his hand.
Gross, dude. Come on, let's go see what's going on.
No, I'm not going back there. I'm not going back there. I want to go home.
Well, the sheriff brought me here. I can give you a ride, man. Where's Amber?
I think she's coming up down the path. She was with Emily. Amber.
Oh, Zach, you here as well?
I told you not to call me that. Yeah, I'm here. What's going on?
So, this place is fucked up. I saw something in the lake earlier. And now, Billy, I'm not sure. Do you want to stay? Or should we head home?
Where were you, Zachary?
I went back to Escondido Street. I don't know what I was looking for. Paperwork, photos, something, but shit. It's a story for another time. I was trying to get the sheriff to take me to see this Debbie Rappaport, but I don't know. Then he hauled me off here. So why don't you two get out of here? I'll hang out here.
I think they're gonna close it up. We should all just probably go.
And then she gives Zachary a suspicious look. Unless you want to spend more time with the sheriff.
That dude has got fucking laser eyes, man. He knows what I'm thinking. If I didn't need to get to Debbie's house, I would be the hell away from him.
Well, the police are here. They can take care of whatever's happening. We should just get out of here and stay.
Yeah, maybe you're right. We'll find Debbie some other way. Now, Ash, I'm going to say this once. I call shotgun on that fucking hearse of Amber's.
As you're going back to the parking lot, getting ready to get into the car, who's the last one in the car? What's your marching order here?
I like to think that because it's like only a 2-seater, that Ash is getting into the back.
Yeah.
So you're last in, Ash?
Yeah, last in, climbing to the hatch of the hearse.
So you have to go around to the back as well, right?
Yeah.
As you head around to the back, you feel a slight but nevertheless distinct drop in temperature as a shadow passes over you, like a cloud blocking out the sun. But there are no clouds in the sky. You smell, also quite suddenly, cigarette smoke coming from somewhere. What do you do?
Ash sort of has his hand braced on the door leading into the back of the hearse. But when he feels that, I think the hair on his arm stands up and he looks at it and turns behind him to see if what's behind him.
Behind you, leaning up against a tree, is the biggest man you've ever seen. He is 7 feet tall. His shoulders are as wide as a shovel handle is long. He's wearing a pale yellow suit, cowboy hat, and he's big and jowly. And he tips his hat to you. What do you do?
He feels drawn to him for some reason. There's something not just eerie, but eerily familiar about him. And I think that just out of his sort of instinctual curiosity, he quietly shuts the hearse door and starts to approach him, looking up at him.
Let's take our second break real quick. Take 5. Ash, you approach this man. As you get closer to him, you can see that he seems to get even bigger as you get closer, so that you almost are like enveloped by his immenseness. You stand completely in his shadow. He looks at you with deep-set eyes set in deep between folds of thick flesh. He has a bolo tie shaped like the sun around his neck. Nice day for it, wouldn't you say?
Ash is looking up at him through his thick black frame glasses. It just sort of takes him in and just lets that question just sort of hang in the air with the cigarette smoke. And I don't think he actually responds at all. He just sort of is like slack jawed, looking up at him.
How do you find our little oasis here in the desert?
I've been here before.
Oh, yes, yes. I think I knew that. I know many things, though they sometimes escape me. One can only keep so much inside at one time. First in, first out, that sort of thing.
Have I seen you before?
Maybe. Possibly. Many people see me. I'm kind of hard to miss.
And who are you?
Now that is the question. Who am I? Well, I suppose I have gone by many names over the years. You can call me the Wanderer, 'cause that's what I do. I wander. I observe. I remember, mostly. And I tell stories about the places I wander to, about the people I see. I'm going to tell a story about you someday, you can be sure of that. But I wonder what kind of ending that story is going to have.
Have you always been here?
You can sense it, can't you? You can sense how old this place is.
You know what happened to Billy? To Jessica?
The land always has its way. That's all I can really say for now. This patch of desert, what people in this century refer to as DeGoya County, is an old, old place. Some might say it's the oldest place. It might even be older than the sun. I haven't been here long, relatively speaking, though certainly much longer than you.
I think I have to go.
You be careful out there. Be careful about them tapes.
The Odyssey tapes.
Oh, yes, yes. Your friend has found another one. But really, They have found you.
I have to go. Thank you. Thank you, Wanderer.
I'm going to give you a condition called the Wanderer. You can join up with the other two back in the hearse now.
Yeah, I was about to ask, is like Amber the type to like sit on the horn or?
Yeah, by now I would.
I think she's also maybe getting annoyed with Zachary fiddling with the radio.
Yeah, so he'll sort of be snapped out of that like daze that he was in, and he'll jog back to the hearse and open the door. But before he climbs into the back of the hearse, he'll give one last look back at this big man, and just sort of look at him, taking him in, and then he'll slide inside.
I think that'll probably wrap our phase for today. Significantly more productive than last time, in terms of the clue gathering, at least. Let's head over to the dusk. Let me tell you about this third tape. You now have a third tape. This next one is called, the one that was found at 18 Escondido, is called Ghost Gals 03 Black Rock Pure White Labyrinth. I'll put that in chat for you. This one's not in the character keeper, so I'll just have to eventually, if you decide to watch that one, I'll just paste the text for you. But indeed, do we have any moves that resolve in the dusk phase? I don't think so. Are you going to watch a tape tonight?
I mean, I as a player, I'm always down to watch tape, but
yeah, okay.
If other people want to like do more investigating, I'm also okay with that.
Where do you want to watch the tape? You know of another VCR at 18 Escondido.
I feel like, given that the sheriff found me poking around in there, it doesn't feel like a sensible place to watch a creepy tape. And also, like, in character, I think Zachary would be against that, given what he experienced there today.
Does Amber want to call Casey over again?
Nah, not tonight. I wonder if she would dare Zachary to watch it in Escondido Street.
That sounds fun. I mean, you're all here to have an experience, right? You're here to learn things. You could investigate the house while you're there watching the tape.
Oh, you think I'm scared to go in a haunted house? Is this part of your whole spooky goth vibe?
I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen?
Casey shows up again and sits making moony eyes at you the whole way through the tape.
That would be pretty bad. That would be pretty bad.
Yeah. But you know, the chance is higher that he'll show up at Rodenbecker Street.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to set foot in this place or at Escondido Street. So if you don't want to see him again, that's probably the best bet.
It is a Casey-free zone.
Or the other worst thing that could happen is the sheriff comes poking around again, and I have another uncomfortable ride with that guy in his truck.
I mean, by this point, we'll probably already have ended before 18 Escondido Street because I'm driving. And although it's not far away by foot, I'll just, as a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The hearse pulling up to the haunted house. I love it. Yeah.
saves me spending another moment in this ridiculous car.
I love it. Very good. Yeah. Okay. It's probably too early to answer a question yet. So, what are you each going to be doing during the night phase? Because there will be pauses for you to be doing something if you wish.
Well, I never did go down in the basement, so
sounds like a plan.
What better time to do that?
Than, I know.
Yeah, interesting. I think Ash is just gonna just aimlessly poke about the house. I don't think he's going
to see what you can find.
Yeah. Maybe go in the little boy's room or something.
Seems reasonable. Amber?
I mean, I think she'll pull a prank on Zachary.
Nice. Good. I'll be excited to hear the details of this. Do we have any key prompts that need to be resolved? I don't think anyone turned a key.
No.
In which case, I'll introduce the Odyssey tape and we'll take a break so you can think about it. I'm going to just clip an image of it and paste it in the chat for you here. Then you... Ghost Gals 03 Black Rock Pure White Labyrinth is what the label says on the side of the tape. This tape is an episode of Ghost Gals, a show where two amateur ghost hunters, Rhea Sterling and Samira Mangle, explore famously haunted places around Deep Lake. Rhea believes in the supernatural and is easily frightened, while Samira provides comic relief by making lighthearted fun of Rhea and explaining away strange events in hilariously mundane ways. They are exploring Deep Lake's abandoned mines, colloquially called the Black Rock Maze. Prompt 1 will be Rob, prompt 2 will be Michael, everyone does prompt 3, and prompt 4 will be Jack. Let's take a 10-minute break so you can read through the tape and decide what you want to do. We'll come back and do our night phase. It would seem that your missing companion, Taylor, who has taken the day off for rest and recovery, was not lying about the fact that despite the fact there's no power in Escondido Street, the VCR and the TV work. An unusual detail. And so at night, it's just the blue glow of the TV before you hit play and whatever light comes from your cell phones as you do things on your cell phones. I also want to tell you before we begin watching this tape that a special rule is invoked. If the Latchkeys watch an Odyssey tape in this room, in the TV room of 18 Escondido Street, you get to collectively define a clue inspired by what you saw. The clue can be used for any mystery, but cannot conclusively answer a question by itself. This can be done as often as you wish, even after the mystery is resolved, so long as you have access to the house. And so we press play.
And we see Rhea posed in front of the old mine shaft. And she's kind of gesturing at the entrance and says, well, this is the Black Rock Mine here in Degoya County. And she kind of looks up. And this is the home of the Black Rock Vulture. And the legend says it kills its prey by flying above them and dropping rocks from the mine on their heads. Do you think we can get inside the entrance I don't know if it's, and she's kind of giggling, like half joking, but you can see she's actually scared. I don't know if I'm more nervous in here, in there, or out here. Can we go inside? And she starts to back under the entrance of the mine as the camera kind of zooms in and follows her. And a stone just kind of breaks loose of the wall and falls, and Rhea just jumps almost out of her skin, and then turns to the camera and laughs and says, I'm sure we'll find something spooky inside. Let's go.
We pause the tape. Ash, do you head over to Elliot's room?
Yeah, I think he just sort of starts to get up, and he looks down at Zachary and he says, this one doesn't seem that bad. And he starts to just sort of like mosey through the house, looking into, different doorways. But I think when he sees the doorway leading into Elliot's room, he just sort of like pokes it open more and dips his head in, seeing like what I assume are like the sort of like artifacts of childhood.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a twin bed with Ninja Turtle sheets, a large poster, faded, of Bill Nye the Science Guy. There are still Matchbox cars on the ground, spread on the floor like caltrops. What do you do?
I think he actually accidentally steps on one of them first, and it's like, but then I think that once he's inside, he just sort of sits on the bed, looking up at the windows. Are the windows boarded up at all, or is it just sort of just as they were?
They're as they were.
Just sort of looking up out at the sky, sitting on the bed, looking around, and I think he just sort of maybe like pokes his head into the closet if there is one, and looks through any kind of dressers if they're there.
Something about the energy in the room changes when you open the closet door. What do you see or otherwise experience, Ash, that makes you think Elliot is still in the house somewhere?
When he opens the closet door, he doesn't think anything of it at first. It's just sort of like, as he would at his own house, just sort of throwing it open. But when he does, he immediately hears the kind of like pitter patter of small feet running up and down the hall, in between the front room and the kitchen. And the footsteps are too small in their increments to be either Amber or Zachary. And he looks up and he approaches the door and sticks his head out. Was that you, Amber? Zachary?
Let's check in with Zachary. Zachary, since Ash has just gotten up, I guess, are you going to get up too and go down to the basement as you planned?
Yeah, I think as Ashley says to him, oh, this type doesn't seem so bad, he's kind of rolls his eyes and says, this tape looks like it's going to be the lamest thing ever. Some spooky time we're going to have here tonight. And he gets up and uses the little light on his cell phone to.
Yeah, I mean, the little stairs down to the basement. The little stairs down to the basement are right there in the TV room, as we established last time. Once you get down into the basement, you're hit with the smell of sawdust and rat droppings. They invade your nose. There are stacks of U-Haul boxes down here, a disassembled Christmas tree in one corner. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Something about the basement makes us think the kids were terrified to come down here. What is it?
I'll pull something from my own childhood, or rather my mom's childhood. Uh, the basement has one room that is painted entirely red, and there is what appears to be a very old piece of laundry equipment known as a mangler.
I think all sound down there is swallowed, so no one can hear you scream.
I think in a vain attempt to catch the rats, there are, in odd corners and behind shelves, there are traps. Some even still baited, but none of them sprung. So just ready to catch any toes that might be poking around.
Amber, you've been abandoned by your fellow latchkeys in the room with the weird TV. What do you do?
So while Zach went down the basement, I brought like a really silly little toy ghost I could hang at the door. When he comes back up, he'll be scared. So that's the basic idea. So I'm trying to put that on.
I love it. Let's resume the tape, whether you're there to watch it or not. We hit play.
So we see Ria, who suddenly turns and says to Samira, "Did you get that?" And the camera zooms in, and it's really dark. There's just some flashlights, and Ria is shaking, and there's just a faint glimpse of something that disappears within like just around the corner. And Samira pulls the camera back to Ria and says, "Don't worry, there's nothing to be afraid of. That might just have been an animal." And you can tell she speaks faster, and then she continues mentioning all different animals that could be there. Could have been a rabbit, a rat, and while she's saying that, she's got like a 90s appropriate fidgeting toy, maybe a pen, and she clicks it continuously, and it's not really reassuring the way she clicks that pen. And yeah, Ria isn't really convinced. You can tell by the look on her face.
Ash, you heard footsteps when you opened the closet door. The energy in the room definitely changed. How are you feeling right now?
I think he's feeling a little spooked. He's still carrying the whole watching someone drown on dry land thing with him. So I think that he's very, very shaken right now.
Yeah. So what do you do? Oh, you're muted.
He's going to start to follow the sound of the footsteps, which he heard going back towards the kitchen. And he's going to leave Elliot's room, leaving the door open, and then follow them back.
I want the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve?
I think Ash is afraid that the stories about Escondido Street are true, and that whatever kind of evil this house has is going to get him.
It is worse than that. It's going to get you, and you will be lost wherever the Rappaports are lost. I'm going to have you roll sensitivity at disadvantage.
That makes sense. That is a 4.
We'll come back to this. Zachary, what do you do when you're down in the basement?
Well, there's all these boxes just sitting there. I think we better see if there's any clues inside of any of them.
Make a meddling move with composure.
Mm. I think I might just, given I'm stacked up on conditions here, I want to succeed. I think Zachary might have to take a little key bump before he goes there, just to keep himself awake tonight, and get his nerves straight for
a little bit of powdered courage. I like it.
Yeah, just to ensure that the others don't notice that he actually is kind of nervous about what's going on here.
You can roll with advantage.
Right, just as well I did. That's a 9.
We'll come back to this. Amber, while you're hanging your little ghost, you see a shadow. A shadow in the dim blue light. Somebody's in the hall, just outside the TV room. What do you do?
I whisper and say, "Hey, don't ruin this."
Don't ruin what?
I was going to scare Zachary, but who are you?
You can see that it's Harvey Stosky standing in the hall. Take the condition haunted, which is part of the special rules of this particular mystery. And the tape keeps playing. The angle on the camera has changed. Both girls are clearly unaware it's filming. They're arguing, blaming each other for being lost. As the argument grows in intensity, anger, and resentment, how can we tell something else is listening and watching?
We just hear, obviously closer to the camera than where the two girls are, and over the sound of them bickering with each other, they wouldn't be able to hear this, but kind of a scraping, like a bird's claw or beak on stone, as though something is creeping closer.
I think if you pay real close attention, and it's almost off screen, there's a conspicuous shadow that moves in an unnatural way.
There's a moment we catch where the two girls are fighting, yelling at each other back and forth, shouting blame, and Samira, she rolls her eyes in that sort of juvenile way, and she says, "Well, if you didn't want to come, you didn't have to come." And Rhea just goes, we had to come because I'm not going to leave you here by yourself." And Samira just sort of in a huff just sort of stomps away and goes deeper into the cave. But Rhea just sort of stands there beside herself, calling out to Samira. But we're watching this, and as we're watching this, the camera is starting to come up as if being held by something with an unsteady grip, and starts to slowly follow behind Rhea with the camera in hand.
I'm going to take the narration, Ash, since you got a miss. You go down the hall that connects up to the kitchen, dining room, back exit. And just to the left in the dark from the kitchen, you hear 96, 97, 98, 99.
Hello?
100.
Amber?
Ready or not, here I come.
Zachary?
You feel something, a change in the air, a rushing sensation. Something is clamoring towards you in the dark. It leaps, pins you down in the darkness, and we never hear from you again. Unless you're turning a key.
Please turn a key, please.
You can choose child or desolation, your choice.
I'm going to mark, this feels very appropriate to mark the sandstone arch.
Very good. We'll redo the scene in a moment, but let's check in with Zachary Fontenot. Zachary, I owe you a clue. You'll find the clue, no trouble. A strange thing. There's a bunch of old toys and junk in boxes, and you're kind of going through it. It's a very quiet space, though. It's so quiet that you can't even hear the sounds coming from upstairs anymore. You can't even hear your own breath, your own footsteps. You find in one of the boxes a Candyland board featuring characters you don't remember. The Toffee Duke, the Ravenous Sugar Pig, the Licorice Beastie, the Peanut Butter Sphinx, and others. That's your clue.
Paste it here. Candyland like a...
It's a kid's board game.
Candyland a real board game?
It is, yeah.
I don't know that one.
And you got a mixed result, right?
I got a 9, yeah.
Yeah. The eerie silence is broken by the sound of Claire's voice. Oh, that looks fun, Zachary. Let's play a game together.
There.
I want the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve right now?
I'm going to run screaming out of the basement, and the other two are going to know that I am actually genuinely freaked out.
It's worse than that. You're going to run screaming, but you're not going to get out of the basement. Make the move at disadvantage with composure.
Mm-hmm. Five.
Amber, you're standing there. Harvey Stosky's there in the dim blue light, staring back at you. What do you do?
And she takes a step back and says, Mr. Stosky, I think this might have gone too far.
And now he's behind you, right over your shoulder. I've got my eye on you. Wednesday Addams. And now he's gone. Make the night move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you lose your nerve?
I think he'll reappear and push me down the stairs.
It's worse than that. You'll be pushed down the stairs and you will break your neck. Roll with sensitivity at disadvantage.
That makes sense. Let's see. Do I have anything to hold on to? No. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Disadvantage. So that would be a 5.
Our last portion of the tape begins now.
We see in this dimly lit cave, we can still see the unsteady grip of the camera following Rhea. She's panicked. She's calling out for Samira. Her voice is hoarse. Sounds like it must feel like she's screaming as if she's been coughing on razor blades, and she's exhausted, but she can't see or hear anything beyond the sound of her own footsteps and her own cries for her friend. But as we continue to follow her down this tunnel, we can hear off in the distance, even the poor mic of this camera can pick it up, the sound of something squelching and then a thud. And it's repeated over and over and over again, very slowly and deliberately. And Rhea calls out to Samira again, but this time there's a moment where she gasps and she runs deeper into the tunnel, saying Samira's name over and over and over again. The camera continues to steadily follow her behind, or unsteadily follow her behind. And we can see Rhea bleeding and crying. She's beside herself, crumpled up against the side of the cave, saying, "No, no, 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 no." And we could see at the other end of the cave, with the night vision of the camera, a cairn of stones. We see a body, Samira, her arms splayed out, but there's another body on top. And we see her face, her head. It's bloodied up. There's one large gash where her eye should be. And we see the figure on top of her is this emaciated, filthy looking old man, long, wiry white beard, naked except for what appears to be like a large bird skull, almost adorned as a mask. And we see something small in his hand, small and long. It looks to be Samira's pen, the one that she would click when she was nervous. But we see this man over and over, plunging it in and out of Samira's eye socket. Finally, the Birdman turns towards Rhea. Squawk! Squawk! And Rhea shrieks as we start to hear other voices saying, "Squawk! Squawk!" And the camera, there's a voice behind the camera just squawking as other naked figures wearing bird masks begin to drag Rhea away into a nearby tunnel, dragging her out of sight. The camera, whoever's holding it, drops it in excitement, and begins to pick up Rhea's feet, helping to usher her for whatever fate awaits her.
Zachary, you attempt to run, to scramble up the stairs, but you hear Claire scrambling after you. You are desperately trying to get up to the stairs. You're calling out for Amber, for Ash, even for Casey at one point, even though Casey's not there. And the basement just swallows up the words before they can even travel up. Like you can barely hear anything. And we just see a shot looking down the stairs of you, dimly lit, being dragged down into the darkness. Unless you turn a key.
I believe I will.
Child or desolation?
Well, Jack picked desolation, so why don't I pick child?
Very good. Instead, the scene just goes silent. You don't hear Claire. You have your weird Candyland game under your arm, and you make your way back upstairs. Amber. You can hear Zachary coming up the stairs. You almost have time to get help or to call for him. But Harvey Stosky gives you a short, sharp shove and sends you tumbling down. Zachary, rather than catching you, steps aside and lets you fall. And you snap your neck at the bottom of the stairs, unless you turn a key.
Yep. I'll turn the sandstone arch.
Very well. Instead, Harvey's just gone. There's no sign of Harvey anywhere in the house. And we'll wrap up this night phase, Ash. There's no sign of the boy who you believe is now in the house as you go down the hall. But you have unlocked a new question for this mystery. How can we lure Elliot to us? It's a complexity 2. And if you can answer it correctly, you unlock Elliot as a reward at the end of the mystery.
And we can do that before the other question?
You sure can, yep. You can do it anytime you can basically do it anytime the house is, as long as the house is there.
Mm-hmm.
That concludes our night phase. What's the clue that you all got as you were diligently watching the tape, which I'm sure you can watch again once you're all settled a little bit more. What do we think a clue is, and for which mystery?
So I was thinking about maybe related to the pen.
Yeah,
maybe it's
a
branded pen and there's a symbol on it or something.
Oh, the pen is an interesting little detail that kept coming up.
Maybe it's a pen. If you want to do like the lurker, maybe it's a pen for
Pine Rock Ridge.
For Pine Rock Ridge, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, you can write the clue however you wish, but I like it. That's good. Fantastic. That takes us to the dawn. I think in the interest of time, I'm going to have you all save any narration keys for next time. If you have any. I think a couple of you marked Sandstone Arch, so it doesn't really matter, but we'll go to the dawn. Let's answer these dawn questions. Did the Latchkeys resolve a mystery? Not yet. Zachary, were you vulnerable with someone? With Claire, possibly?
Yeah, or even with the sheriff.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, definitely. Did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake? I'd say the sheriff again, actually. Because you didn't have to get in the car.
Yeah, he got out of me.
Yeah.
That I was from there originally, and yeah. Okay.
Amber, did you receive a signal from the other side? Meaning, did you narrate something into the tape that is part of the real world, or something in the real world that's part of the tape? I seem to feel like you all were kind of doing that. There were different things. Arguably, I don't know. What do you think, Amber?
I mean, if that includes like the clue we settled on, then
Yeah. Did you come up with the pen? Was the pen your idea?
Yeah.
Then you get credit for it.
All right.
Did you cut loose for once?
Is playing a prank on someone
Oh,
in a
you
haunted
tried.
house?
Yeah, you tried. Yeah, you tried too. I'll give you
Yeah.
credit for it. Were you vulnerable with someone?
I don't think so.
Ash, did you receive a signal from the other side?
No, I didn't get a chance to.
Interesting. Okay. Did you share a good memory from your childhood?
I think I did now. I don't think he looks fondly upon being maimed in a lake.
No, it's not the best memory. Did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake, however?
I think he did. He went off the beaten path to head towards the lake to try and.
Yeah. I'm into it. Go ahead and mark that. And yeah, good. Okay. Let's keep going. We'll save key prompts for next time. And so with that said, let's do stars and wishes. Who wants to go first?
I can go. Star for our dice for really coming through again this time. I really hope that we continue to roll terribly throughout the rest of this game. Because it's giving us some really cool moments that we can kind of play off of. Sort of individual stars. I love the hearse. I love that Amber just rolls up in a hearse. I'm calling it not the mystery machine, the misery machine. I will call it that. But no, I love that detail, and I think Amber's super fun. She's sort of subverting a lot of like goth tropes and a lot of like these sort of like like the pranks and the kind of childish fun nature of her is really interesting take on that kind of vibe. Um, I'm gonna miss Billy James deeply, my whole heart. But that was a really really creepy scene, and I really enjoyed getting to have that trauma. And Rob, you did something today which I really like seeing when people do is when they're able to sort of fictionally bring in their personal quarters items, and so like even if it just as like a to sort of set up a mood or a moment where like you were describing how like you felt the weight of cocaine in your pocket around Sheriff Hanscom, like it's those little things that like really make uh, a game special, and I think that you're really kind of clued into who he is, and like you feel very confident in who he is, and that's translating really well. Um, and I thought the tape was really good too, the Black Rock tape. I thought obviously Jazzy did a great job of writing it, but I think that where we went with it was very fun and creepy. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to having Natasha back for next time, and then I'm really looking forward to answering one of these questions.
I can go next. I really had a great time. It was so creepy. And so stars definitely for the night, but also during the day there were some really scary moments and I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the interactions with Harvey Starsky and when he came back and um, being called Wednesday Adams. That kind of hurts, but I have to think about how she feels about that. Um, the tape was amazing. I enjoyed that a lot as well, and the scene with Billy and Ash was really impactful. I enjoyed how both of you played that out, and that you decided not to save him, Jack. That was also really interesting because, I mean, he's probably a fun NPC, but it was quite impactful for your character, and I liked how we saw it like for the rest of the session. And for Rob, I really enjoyed how you interacted with the sheriff and you tried to lie to him and how that unfolded, and he caught you in your lie, and still there weren't like any severe consequences. So I quite enjoyed that dynamic. And yeah, for wishes, I think we should have some nostalgic moves.
Do you think?
Yeah, maybe just like one or
we
two.
may need them. Yeah.
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 I'm looking forward to that.
I really enjoyed that interaction with Sheriff Hanscom. I did my usual thing at the beginning of the session of like, I don't know what to do or where to go, and then, but I think it came together really nicely. And the introduction of the sheriff there was perfect. And I was kind of mentally and like half in my mind thinking back to the other actual play that I've heard of this, where I think it was Ben's character who kind of gets into a romantic relationship with
almost everyone does. Like, I don't think I've had a single group not romance Sheriff Bill.
And I just went a completely different direction where like Zachary's just being like the most sketchy, suspicious guy who's like clearly got a gram of coke in his pocket, and it doesn't, wants to get out of that car, but is kind of also like knows it'll look suspicious if he does. And yeah, that was a fun scene. I really enjoyed Harvey calling Amber Wednesday Addams. I wrote down was a great, and it was echoed again later in the house. That was fun, and I'm sure that may continue. And the hearse was a lovely touch, and I really enjoyed the moment where Amber said something to their kids when she was bringing the cupcakes about, it's always okay to talk to strangers that are giving you candy or something. Just bringing up that whole stranger danger thing. And yeah, big star to Ash for the scene with Billy James, and like actually leaning into that moment where he dies and not retconning it by turning a key. That felt like a really good like 80s schlock horror slasher moment where this kind of tough the character kind of reminds me of I think he was also called Billy in Stranger Things. And
he's very like Billy in Stranger Things. Yeah, I actually based my Billy off of the character from Ghost World. There's a character in Ghost World.
And yeah, just the moment where he kind of gets taken out and almost immediately, when you think he's almost being set up as being like this significant NPC, and no, he's off the board. And Ash's scene with the big man was fun. Like, Jack, I thought your reaction to him felt very in character, and kind of weirded out, but also not knowing how to react. Just felt like a perfect embodiment of Ash. I'm enjoying this kind of dynamic that's building up between Zachary and Amber of she's kind of goading him and winding him up and trying to spook him, and I think that's going to go fun directions. And yeah, the tape was fun, and I really particularly liked Jack's ending to it. And like in the chat, Jason said, "Oh, this is some Blair Witch shit," and then it kind of carried on for a few seconds. I was like, "No, this is Bone Tomahawk shit," which was, yeah, that was appropriately nuts at the end.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was a really fun session. I'll give a star for the big man scene. I actually really enjoyed I also really enjoyed how you played Ash in that scene, Jack, because sometimes some players want to like shake big man down for info, and try to get him to talk, but you didn't. You were like, I think you treated the moment with big man like the weird thing that it was, and I really like that. Like, it was like clearly a weird moment, and you treated it like a weird moment, and so I really like that. I also really enjoyed the scene with Sheriff Bill and Zachary. That was a lot of fun to role play, as was the scene with there was a lot of really good like just role play scenes today. I had a really good time with the Harvey and Amber scene. Was really fun for me. The Billy James scene was really fun. Like, there's a lot of good stuff there. I really like how you're all playing your characters. Like, there's a really interesting like kind of odd couple or odd thruple or odd quadruple thing going on here with these characters, and but it's really quite prominent with Amber and Zachary, and so I'm really kind of enjoying that dynamic between them quite a lot. The Odyssey tape was terrific. Star for that. That was really, really fun. I particularly enjoyed Jack's ending to it, and but it was all quite good. And yeah, and star for watching the tape at Escondido Street. Like that's a fun, dangerous thing to do, and it's a lot. And so I love nighttime at Escondido Street. Though I do think we got a lot of good horror in both phases. But it was a very like daytime horror and nighttime versus nighttime horror, and it was both. They were both quite good and enjoyable in that way. My wish, I really do want to see. I want to see "Knowing Is Half the Battle" as a move, because that's a free clue basically every session. Yeah. So you need to do that, Rob.
I keep meaning to.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see the Stranger Things or A Foot at the Circle K move as well when Natasha gets back. So those are my wishes. But otherwise, yeah, it's humming along as public access should. So I couldn't be more pleased as far as that goes. Any other stars or wishes?
Just again, creepy star for the fortune teller, paper fortune teller, because like.
Oh yeah, that was a weird little.
That was really weird.
Yeah,
like because I'd sent a picture up in chat of like it was on my screen, like as I was looking it up, trying to figure out like that's the name of it.
Yeah,
and so it was just like really weird.
Yeah, I had to look it up too. I looked it up. I was like, what do you call those things? I was like,
yeah,
and they have like there's another name too that I've never heard them called. I can't remember what it was, but
yeah,
that is definitely very weird. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the bad rolls have kind of led to this being much more kind of like horror from the jump. I feel like other public access games can kind of be like, you know, they're creepy, but it's definitely much more of a slow burn into like the weirdness. But this has just sort of gone like right out of the gate.
Yeah, I think it depends on the mystery a lot too. Like, I mean, I run 18 Escondido Street like really aggressively scary, like I try to. So but you don't have to, I don't think, but it's the way I do it. So probably also I like dark houses where you shouldn't be watching videotapes. So okay, well, with all that said, we're now in layer 2 of the mystery, and we go back out to the desert, back out to our TV on the media stand in the middle of the desert. Except it's nighttime now. The TV blinks to life, and the big man is there again, before his comically small little table, with his tarot cards. He flips over the card of the moon. I recently beheld a red moon. It was blood red, like a bullet hole in the sky. And then I looked all around me, and I saw dead things in the earth, rising up to witness this bloody moon, or perhaps to worship it. And the veil between worlds, between different realities, between different dimensions, between the lands of the living and the dead, was as thin as I'd ever seen it. It was gossamer. It was mist. I could press my finger into it and feel its feverish yielding. But the red moon was neither cause nor symptom. It was an augur.